Okay, so these weeks are the weeks. Okay, these weeks are weeks of Sfirat HaOmer. We're already in the week of Netzach, which is eternity. And I thought I would share with you an interesting approach that the Zohar HaKadosh has about the Shiva Hechalin Midurin Inun Le'ela. We're coming up to Lag BaOmer. The Torah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is especially important to learn. And here we have in the Zohar HaKadosh, it's in Hechalot de Bereshit Daf Lamed Chet Amud Aleph. The Zohar HaKadosh discusses what really happens after somebody dies. Which Hechalot of Gan Eden does he go to? And we're going to learn a very interesting concept that we might not have known yet, which is the following. The Zohar HaKadosh tells us that there are 7 Hechalot in Gan Eden. There are 7 different chambers in Gan Eden, which are rooted in the 7 Sefirot, which is Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchut. And every single chamber is keneged one of the midot, keneged one of the attributes. And really, the Zohar HaKadosh says the 7th, which is Malchut, which is kingdom, is the general. But each of the other 6 have have its own identity and its own place where different people go to. And that's what the Zohar HaKadosh starts discussing unbelievable things. And it says like this, that these Hechalot were something that were much more Gashmi beforehand, much more physical beforehand. But once Adam HaRishon sinned, so it's something more spiritual that we don't know where it is. But it's called Gan Eden HaTachton. It's called the Gan Eden of below. And it is keneged the Gan Eden HaElyon. It's in correlation with the Gan Eden above. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai tells us that the difference between the Gan Eden below and the Gan Eden above is that in the Gan Eden below, there are all types of shapes. Hechala id diuknan kegavna dele'ela v'diuknan kegavna deletata. In every single Gan Eden below, there are shapes like the Gan Eden above, but in below it also has resemblance to Olam Hazeh, which means there are trees and there are flowers and there's grass and there's fruits, and all of these have significance to secrets of creation that we are not able to fathom in this world. When we look at nature, we are not able to understand all the greatness of the secrets of what's going on in creation. But after we shed our body, after 120 that we shed off our body, we're able to start understanding the secrets. And this, it sounds like, is a training camp before we go to Olam HaNeshamot, before we go to the world of souls, which is after the 12 months. So while the body is decaying, anytime between 2 months to 12 months, the Matok Midvash explains, as long as the nefesh is mitabelet al dinei aguf, so it doesn't fully get comforted to rise up to the neshamot, to the Olam HaNeshamot, which is the Gan Eden Elyon. And during that time, it's in these chambers. And that's the chambers that the Zohar HaKadosh discusses over here. And each chamber has its identity, and each chamber has its name, and each chamber has who goes to that chamber. So the first Hechal, let's start with the first Hechal. The first Hechal, Nishmaton de Inun Giurin de Idgaru Kaimin Taman. All of the special nefashot of Gerim, which is of converts that converted L'Shem Shamayim for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they have a special light in them that is lit different than Nishmot Yisrael. And this is, this Heichal, has a place that all of the Malachi Chavala, all the angels of destruction who would have tried to make damage with their fire coming from Gehinnom, that's what the Zohar says. They chase all of the negative forces, and these nishamot of Gerim are able to rest. V'sham en mishta'ashin be'ora tiferet. So it sounds like it's the midat tiferet over here of completeness, of wholeness, of perfection that they reached, that they are there. And there are two people in charge of this chamber. Two of the most reputable Gerim we ever had, Ovadia, who was one of the prophets, Ovadia, and Onkelus Hager. They are in charge of that chamber. And just like in Gan Eden Elyon, in that chamber, you're going to have the Nefashot HaGerim. In Gan Eden Elyon Tachton also you have. This is the first chamber. The second chamber, Tanyana, is Keneged Midat HaHod, which is the week of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Not this week, but next week is going to be Hod. Rabbi Shimon Lag BaOmer is Hod Shebehod. In this Heichal, it is positioned close to the Me'arat HaMachpelah, where our forefathers are buried. And in this Heichal, says the Zohar HaKadosh, it's Keneged Midat Hadin HaMeyaseret, Sham Nimzat Hashem. And how do they work on their Avodat Hashem? They would constantly be praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu on their Yisurin. So people who suffered, and while they're suffered, they're saying, they're praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And they Velo Hayu Mevatlin Suratayu Le'almin. And they would never be Mevatel their Tefillah. In other words, they don't just not pray, they always were consistently praying. Ve'idvu Amen Yesh Merabah Mivarach B'chol Chela. And they would say Amen Yesh Merabah with all of their koach. Those are found in this special chamber that has Midat HaHod, which is the Midat of illumination, and this is their special place. And who's in charge of this? Who's in charge of this chamber? Mashiach. Mashiach is in charge of this chamber. Mashiach, HaMemunah, Mashiach, HaSovel Yisurim Avur Yisrael, that he takes upon himself sufferings for Am Yisrael. So that's the second chamber. After this second chamber, we go into the third chamber, which is Keneged Midat HaNetzach, which is this week. Now, in Midat HaNetzach, you have over here all of those who had even harder sufferings, harder Yisurin. And all of those children who didn't finish their life and died young because of their ma'asim of Gilgulim of beforehand, they are found in this special chamber. And who is in this chamber comforting them? Mashiach. Mashiach is there that's comforting them on this chamber, on the fact that they weren't able to complete their Torah and Ma'asim Tovim that was set out for them. And they still have that beautiful portion in Gan Eden. Unbelievable. After that third chamber goes the Zohar HaKadosh into the fourth chamber, which is Keneged Givura, Keneged strength. And here we have something unbelievable. Who's in this fourth chamber? All of those Avlet Zion veYerushalayim, all those who mourn Zion Yerushalayim. And Mashiach starts to cry for them. But after that, he starts crying, the Mashiach, for all of those who were killed by the Goyim al pi Kiddush Hashem. And he doesn't want to accept Tanhumin, he doesn't want to accept comforting for them until HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes revenge on the Goyim that did this to him. Give the Goyim that did this to them. And he goes up every single Rosh Chodesh with the Livana, he goes up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he knows that when there is when the Livana gets hit, that's when there could be pain for Am Yisrael, and when the Livana is mitchadesh again, it's a good time for Am Yisrael. That's part of the secret of Rosh Chodesh and Birkat Livana. And every single Rosh Chodesh, it comes a certain refuah, a certain healing process. And here the Zohar Kadosh says something unbelievable that really brings to mind all of those that were killed throughout the generations, from the pogroms to the Holocaust to the Inquisitions to the terrorist attacks to just a few weeks ago in San Diego, and then and to all the soldiers that died in Israel at Kiddush Hashem. Here the Zohar Kadosh says like this: anytime that there's a Jew that was killed al Kiddush Hashem, Mashiach wears a certain cloak called Levush Malchut. And in this Levush Malchut, there is actually shapes and of those people who were killed al Kiddush Hashem embedded in the coat. And that coat the Mashiach wears, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu is eventually going to wear that coat to remember to take revenge on the Goyim that did that. As it's written, Yadun Bagoyim Maleh Giviyot. Hashem is going to judge the Goyim, like it's written in Tehillim Kuf Yud, that Hashem is going to judge the Goyim from all of the different Giviyot, all of the different bodies and shapes that there were in Am Yisrael. It's referring to this coat, says the Zohar Kadosh, that he remembers every single person that died. And until the Mashiach reveals himself, they're going to benefit from all that tremendous light that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give them. Now, it's interesting that the Arizal writes in Limudei Atzilut that when a person is killed from Al Pi Kiddush Hashem, from a goy, even if he's not a tzaddik, he wasn't a tzaddik, he accepted and he received his punishment that he was killed without a judgment. There's going to be a angel called Or Paniel that takes his neshama, and he awakens a malach called Yachperiel, Pian, okay, that comes to take this neshama and brings it to the door that he's ra'ui to come. And Hashem is wearing a red coat to symbolize all the blood that was spilled for Am Yisrael. And this neshama is embedded in that coat. And they put that neshama in a place that is so high up that he's going to be with tzaddikim that he's not worthy to be there, because he wasn't at that level, that neshama that was killed on Kiddush Hashem. But because of the great sacrifice, he's there with them. And says the Arizal, because he doesn't have so many ma'asim tovim during his life as much as the people that are next to him, so he's getting burned. Nichvid bechupato shel chavero. He's getting burned by the chuppah of his friend. But after he gets that little burn, he's able to stay in that place. פותחים לו חלון אחד מאחד זה, ומשם בא לה קורת רוח ואור מגן עדן עליון נקרא רוח חיים, ונותן כוח לשב בחופה זו, ונמצא שמה שנהרגה היה לטובתה. And he sees that was killed, it was for his good. So it's a tremendous level that somebody who has died al Pi Kiddush Hashem, where they go. That's the fourth chamber. The fifth chamber is Keneged Chesed. And in this chamber, you have all the Ba'alei Teshuvah that were Choser b'Teshuvah, completeness. Shavu mi'maseh mara'im ve'lo chazru lachto od. And they regretted on everything that they did, machmat ahava, not machmat yira, because of love of Hashem. And when they do that, they get to such a high level that they're able to be in this chamber. And in this chamber, you have over here Elazar ben Dordaya, the famous story in Masechet Avodah Zarah, Daf Yud Zayin, where Elazar ben Dordaya apparently sinned with every single woman that he was able to sin with and do every type of avirah. The end of his life, when he regretted it after getting musar from a certain zona, he asked help. He beseeched help from the mountains and from the sky. And they said, everything is totally, it's not dependent upon us, it's dependent upon you. At that point, he cried until his neshama left him. Famous story, look it up. And Elazar ben Dordaya is there. And who else is there? all of those who did teshuvah in completeness, and that's why it's written b'makom shebalei teshuvah omdim en tzadikim gvurim yochlim la'amod. It's referring to this. In a place of balei teshuvah stand, you can't have tzadikim gvurim there because they have their special place in Gan Eden that the tzadikim don't necessarily reach there. And when he does teshuvah, there's other people next to him. They're saying, why didn't we do teshuvah as well? Why weren't we complete ba'alei teshuvah? That's the koach of teshuvah we see from this part of the Zohar. The last chamber, the sixth chamber, which is keneged midat hatiferet, is keneged midat hatiferet, and in this chamber, I know that we said beforehand that the first one had keneged midat hatiferet, but over here as well it says keneged midat hatiferet. So I don't know where Yesod went over here, but keneged midat hatiferet is the hechal of the Chasidim. All of those who went beyond the letter of the law. We look at people that do chumrot, and they serve Hashem fully, completely. We say, oh, why do they have to be machmir more than the Shulchan Aruch? The Zohar HaKadosh considers these people holy people. Considers them that they go beyond the letter of the law just for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not for their own OCD or kavod purposes, but rather for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They care about doing the mitzvah b'shlemut. And those people are in a special chamber. And who's in charge of this chamber? That who love HaKadosh Baruch Hu so much, and all of those who read Kriyat Shema b'kavana every single day, b'kavanat hayichud, and they read Kriyat Shema below, it gives them light. And who is by that chamber? Avram Avinu, who, by the way, Avram Avinu was also in the previous chamber. But Avram Avinu is by that sixth chamber, and he's calling all of those that were Chasidim. And not only was Avram Avinu, also Yitzchak Avinu is there. Avram Avinu is by the right, Yitzchak Avinu is by the left, and Yaakov is in the middle. And all the 12 Shvatim are around there. And this is basically the tzaddikim and the chasidim that go lemala mimidata din. So once again, there are 6 chambers. You have the first chamber for the nefesh hagirim, the second chamber for those who went through sufferings, the third chamber those who went through sufferings and all the little children that died younger than their age, the fourth chamber for all of those who died al pi kiddush Hashem, the fifth for baalei teshuvah, and the sixth for the chasidim, for those who went beyond the letter of the law. And all of those chambers has a person where he fits in. Hopefully he goes through a very short process of Gehinom, and then he enters these chambers. And when he enters these chambers, he has an opportunity to be mishtashea in Gan Eden and understand what the Olam HaNeshamot is about and secrets that he couldn't understand in this world. And eventually, says the Zohar HaKadosh, they're all going to get to the Hechal HaShevi'i. They're all going to get to the seventh Hechal. They're all going to pass through the 7 Hechal in order to get to the Olam HaNeshamot. Each one is going to pass through his path in the 7th chamber, which is Midat HaMalchut. So we learned many things that are above our level that we don't necessarily understand. But one thing that we do get is that our time in this world is limited. We don't have much time. We have opportunities to do mitzvot. We have opportunities to do ma'asim tovim. And we have opportunities to gain our rightful portion in the world to come. And the truth is, it's not mentioned once. It's not mentioned once in the whole Torah about Gan Eden. So the Gaon Mevilna in Shir HaShirim explains that the reason why Gan Eden is not mentioned is because the whole purpose of Gan Eden is to make a makom shechina, is to have a place of divine presence that you would be in. That's what Gan Eden is. That's what we just saw, that a person has that light and he's close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So if a person, so that's written all the time in the Chumash. We can make a Mishkan in this world already. We can make a Gan Eden at Tachtot Tachton in this world by being in the Bet HaMidrash, spending time learning, spending time praying, doing Ma'asim Tovim. That is what's going to create our own Mishkan HaTachton, and especially in this week, which is the week of Midat HaNetzach, which is of eternity, to remember this midah of eternity and how eternity plays such an important role that we could look forward to, that we are eternal. It definitely gives us chizuk and reminds us in this world to capitalize on all of the time that we have. Chazak u'baruch.